These men are on the run, and they're at the beginning of a journey which might take them as far as Germany, or might end in a matter of hours in a Turkish jail. Most of them come from northeastern Iraq, and they're Kurdish.
Freedom. There is no freedom in my country, and Saddam Hussein is one of the men that causes all of the difficulties, all of the trouble in my country.
What they're doing is not only risky, it's expensive. The trade in illegal immigration is massive. Istanbul is the clearinghouse for hundreds of thousands of Kurds from Turkey, Iran and Iraq. It's one vast market where you can buy just about anything, including a passage to the west. A tide of people on a collision course with the rich nations of Europe. Istanbul marks the start of a journey full of hazards and difficulties. The challenge is to travel from Europe's fringe to its prosperous heart. And to do that, you need determination, money, and contacts. For a price, this man will smuggle you out of Turkey, overland to Athens. Aziz didn't want us to show his face. What he's doing is illegal. He's a Kurd from northeastern Iraq, where he says people are forced to choose between rival political groups or face persecution.
There are many problems in my country. You have to support either Talabani, Barzani or Saddam Hussein. People who are not involved in politics have to escape.
Aziz agreed to show us how the smuggling trade works and to take us on the first part of the journey. There are plenty of people who'll part with the $2,000 he asks to get them as far as the Greek capital.
At the moment, it's more than I can handle. 50, 100, sometimes 200 people a day wanting to leave. It's a difficult business. You have to organize vehicles and the men involved in actually getting people across the border, then the people themselves. And you don't always succeed. We can be caught at checkpoints and we risk being sent back to Iraq.
Aziz took us to meet Salam Raza, a fellow Kurd who wants to get out. After weeks of hanging around Istanbul, Salam is about to head for Athens.
My brother was detained and tortured. He died in prison. His wife was also persecuted. I had to care for their children.
In Iraq, Salam was a sculptor, creating public monuments, but not always to universal acclaim.
I made a statue showing a figure holding a large hammer in its left hand. That's a symbol of revolution, and it's against dictatorship. I felt my life was in danger. That's ultimately why I had to leave. I'm talking about democratic countries. They're very different. Human rights are observed. Comparing it with life in Iraq is like comparing heaven with hell. In one place you have persecution and fear. In the other, you have democracy and freedom.
زۆر لە لای خۆمان هەیە مەترسێکی زۆر هەیە لە لای خۆمان بەڵام لەوێ نەکە ئەڵمانیا هەموو واتەکان کە دیموکراتی
Geography, of course, helps make Istanbul a natural gateway into Europe for the Kurds. The city is already home to a large Kurdish population, people who've moved here from their homelands in southeast Turkey and northern Iraq. Aziz has been smuggling people out of Turkey for 2.5 years.
The main difference between the authorities in Turkey and the authorities in Greece is that all Turkish police are hungry. They want money, so they all take bribes. Whereas in Greece, if we get caught, we're done for.
As night falls, we board the bus that will take us towards the Greek border. Salam the sculptor is here. The others I'm meeting for the first time. Expectations are high.
I have my goals. I've suffered a lot, but now I'm going to achieve those goals. I want to live in Europe in freedom, and I want to bring my wife and children over too.
It's about a 4-hour bus ride from Istanbul up to the Greek border. The first objective is Athens. From there, they'll probably go through Albania or Yugoslavia, then Italy, before heading into France and perhaps on as far as Germany. Well, it's a bit over 2 hours since we left Istanbul, and we're off the main road on a sort of back road at the moment. And it's a lot quieter. It's also 10:15 at night. But these guys don't take any chances, and we've still got a car a few kilometres ahead of us, which has got a mobile phone in it. And if they spot any police cars or anything like that, they phone the driver of the bus and tell him. So everybody sits down so they won't attract attention. The money they've paid for this trip doesn't guarantee success.
I've already tried this 5 times, the last time in 1996. Each time I was stopped and sent back to Iraq. I left Iraq last year in 97. Now it's 1998.
The main transit point for the hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants who flow into Europe each year is Italy. Its long coastline makes it an easy target. And in the past, claiming political asylum here was little more than a formality. Giuseppe Faracino has been on the front line of Coast Guard duty for 7 years. He and his crew are always on the lookout for smugglers.
For us, quite a bit has changed. Not only are we doing normal Coast Guard work, but we also go out every night to try to catch the little boats which are coming over from Albania. We have to escort them ashore.
Questi gommoni che partono dall'Albania e portarli a terra.
This ship, with more than 700 extremely anxious people on board, was abandoned by its crew just outside Brindisi harbour. It's estimated that no more than 20% of those coming ashore are detected. That means about 100,000 illegal immigrants landed in this area alone in the past year.
Controlling Italy's 8,000 kilometers of coastline completely is impossible. This is where most of the boats try to land. Even though they're using big fast boats, they can't go that far. So we've got this area covered.
Italy's relaxed asylum laws mean that it's very easy for people to stay in the country once they actually get in. And from here, of course, they can move to other European countries, places like Germany, where there are large Kurdish minorities. So the Italian government's been under a lot of pressure from some of its European Union partners, most notably Germany, to do more to stop people coming into Italy in the first place and to try to stop them moving further once they're here. Overlooking the Calabrian coast is the village of Badolato, once home to 7,000. Emigration has seen that fall to fewer than 700. So when a boat carrying mostly Kurds arrived off the coast, the people of Badolato did what no one expected. They welcomed them in. It's an approach which at times puts extraordinary demands on the village's resources.
Even Aras have television, have recorder, have anything. Why we have no this?
We'll get it on Monday, we'll get it on Monday. We've already bought it, but it had to come from outside.
Okay, so Monday, you get television on Monday.
Paint, brown paint and black paint. Paint
for the shoes.
Paint for the shoes. Washing machine.
Television and washing machine Monday, on Monday.
Monday.
The people of Badolato saw an opportunity, not a problem, when the ship Ararat dropped anchor with 826 people on board. The mayor, Gerardo Manelli, called a meeting, and the villagers decided to offer homes to at least 20 families and some temporary accommodation to nearly 200 single men.
Allora, in un primo momento c'era un po' di perplessità nella gente perché era 400
We had 400 new arrivals in a village of 600. But we held a meeting and explained where these people were from and that they needed help. And remember, this is a town that everybody has emigrated from, so people here had some understanding.
Hanno tutti capito che bisognava aiutare questa gente perché noi abbiamo una grossa tradizione in fatto di immigrazione.
So do you think these people are going to stay here?
Parecchie famiglie di queste sicuramente.
I think most of these families will stay here because we're trying to find them jobs. We're getting some money from the European Community, the European Bank, and national and local governments. The idea is to find work for them in local industries.
He treated us like his sons. No?
The prize exhibits in the mayor's project are Araz Jamal and his wife Silvana. They married in the village just a month after they arrived. Araz told me he taught engineering in a large town in northeastern Iraq. He had a big house, 2 cars, a prosperous life, he says. But the turbulent politics eventually forced him and Silvana to leave.
My uncle was with me. He was an electronic engineer. They killed him first. And after him, a man I don't know, he was teaching in the college. So I didn't want to be the third man.
A group of them left Iraq on foot. 2 were shot by Iranian border guards. Eventually they arrived in Istanbul, and then they paid about $5,000 each to leave Turkey by ship.
We decided to go by this ship, and we know that this is a very danger for us because if the Turkish police catch us, they will return us back to Iraq, so we'll be dead, we'll finish.
Their nephews now happily kick a football around the streets of this once deserted village.
Un momento. Grazie. Ivan. Niente.
And the hospitality in Badolato, which includes 2 meals a day delivered to the door, has convinced them to stay.
Don't worry, you'll get it.
Yes, I know. I see from the TV yesterday.
I have my uncle and aunt in Germany, and some of them are in Sweden, and others are in England.
Do they write letters to you telling you to come to Germany?
Of course, but we like Italy. We want to stay here in Italy.
Toothbrush and cream.
Of course, you can't please everyone all the time.
He helped me right, but there is no justice here.
Che sta dicendo?
Especially in Badolato, no justice.
Diciamo, quando si parla a questa gente e gli fai capire che stai facendo tutto il possibile per aiutarli, lo capiscono. Perché
The fact is,
magari qualcuno,
some people are able
da
to
parte
give more than
nostra, ma da parte dei
others.
cittadini ha avuto un occhio di riguardo, diciamo. Ecco,
They think
qualcuno gli ha
everything
regalato
is coming from the
in
state,
effetti il tappeto, gli
but
hanno
much
regalato
of
quello
it
che avevano in
comes
casa.
from individuals.
Giustamente la gente qua non è che può regalare
You can't
tutto.
force
Noi
people
stiamo
to give.
provvedendo per metterli alla pari tutti quanti quelli che rimangono qua naturalmente. Quindi
Some give more than others, but people usually calm down when you explain things. They go from Ventimiglia along the railway track to Menton.
In truth, most people who embark on this journey will not settle for free accommodation in a small Calabrian village. At the other end of Italy, just a few kilometres from the French border, is where this human tide ebbs and flows. Here, the Red Cross help feed and house some of the thousands of illegal immigrants who are picked up either in Italy or France, and who can spend months or even years in a kind of limbo, tossed back and forth from one country to another. Stefano Zaboni has to deal with up to 200 new arrivals here a day.
The Kurds arrive on the early train from Rome, and the Italian border police give them a piece of paper telling them to leave Italy within 15 days. If they manage to get to France, they'll probably be arrested. The French then send them back to us, and the problem continues. This is what happens every day.
Non si placa, cioè è sempre continuo, e questa è, diciamo, la storia di tutti i giorni, quello che succede tutti i giorni.
The problem is that most of the rich countries of the European Union no longer have strict border controls. So when Italians cross over into France, the most they can expect is a cursory glance at the passport. Usually everyone's waved straight through. As the French border guard at this crossing explained to one driver, he wanted to look efficient because we were filming. Go off the motorway and there are often no border checks at all. We stumbled across this abandoned border post a few kilometres inland. For those who already live here, this is a Europe without borders. For those who can get themselves smuggled this far, it's an open door to the rest of Europe. And Europe's haves are worried they might be swamped by this wave of have-nots. Immigration is a political issue. Unemployment in France and Germany is at a post-war high. Nice, on the French Riviera, is only 40 kilometres from the border. This is where most illegal immigrants will be picked up. Every day on the streets of the city, police are on the lookout for people who've managed to slip across undetected.
La France est la terre d'accueil qui favorise le plus.
France is the most open country for foreigners.
Le regroupement familial.
A foreigner can relocate his family,
bénéficie d'allocations familiales,
get education, medical and unemployment benefits.
De frais médicaux, d'indemnités de chômage.
Christian Estrosi is a member of the French Parliament representing Nice.
Ceux qui rentrent facilement en Italie,
those who make for Italy do so with the intention of living in France, because France offers more benefits than Italy.
Qu'à vivre en Italie.
So the French want the Italians to send illegal immigrants back home.
Lorsque vous me dites,
when you ask me what should be done with them when they reach Italy, should they be thrown into the sea? No, there's no question of that. But we could organise a boat to send them back where they come from.
Italy's response so far is to say it's doing what it can.
Purtroppo l'Italia, essendo un paese geograficamente,
unfortunately, Italy is bound by geography.
Unica e noi non riusciamo
we can't send these people back where they came from.
Non sappiamo da che parte arrivano.
Clearly, if we know they are coming, say from Greece, then we can ask Greece to respect the law. But we can't with places like Yugoslavia and Albania, which wouldn't agree to take them back anyway.
Sono posti che noi non possiamo, cioè questi patti non vengono rispettati, quindi ci dobbiamo tenere in casa purtroppo.
But such political and diplomatic realities mean nothing to these men. We're close to the border with Greece now. Soon it'll be a short and risky dash across an open field, then a river crossing into Greek territory.
The Greeks won't accept applications for political asylum, but there are other democratic countries which know the Kurdish question and which grant political asylum.
The drop-off point will leave them with a 3-hour walk just to get to the border.
I haven't lived my life yet. If I can go to those countries where there's democracy, I might be able to realize my dreams. Because up until now, my life's been miserable.
Athens, if they make it that far, is still days away. Aziz is here to guide them. This is their chance for a new beginning. None of them know what they'll find at the other end, but they're convinced that it'll be better than the lives they've left behind.